So one of my more popular articles, making cool KiCAD artwork. When I wrote it, it was a few months ago, and there's just a lot to it, and I could update it, but I don't know. There's a lot of writing and a lot of images, and I don't know. I don't really feel like going back to this. Not because it's not worth it. I mean, it is. At the end of the project, I ended up with a really cool necklace, and I think it was worth the effort. But as far as the article is concerned, it's still a good article. It's just, I don't know, maybe making it more clear is, it'd be better off in a video than it would be in writing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make cool KiCAD artwork, and we're going to start off with an image I found online that I thought would look cool on a PCB. So I'm calling this image Skull Americas. I don't know what its original name is, but it's cool looking, and I'm like, yeah, I could see this on a PCB. So the first thing to do to get it on a PCB is you determine a size. So for me, I don't want this thing to be larger than about 40 millimeters by 40 millimeters. So to get started with this, we're going to resize the document itself. So I'm going to throw it in units millimeters. I'm going to say 40 by 40, and as you can see, the document itself is resizing. And I want the background to be solid white, and this is important when we export it as a PNG. I want to make sure that the background isn't clear, that it is in fact white. So now that we have that, I can select our SVG, hold the control key, and scale it down. Alright. Yeah, maybe a little bit bigger. Okay. So with our image selected, I can do an align and distribute against the page, and now it's centered. And that's it. Now we make sure that your DPI is at least 600. I think most PCB manufacturers can do about 600 dots per inch, if not more. So long as your setting is at minimum 600, if not more, you should be fine. So it's getting called Skull Americas. That's fine. .png. Then I'll hit export. So we should have Skull Americas. Yep. So what you're looking for is black with what you want and white with what you don't want. But only black and white. You only want two colors. Alright. So I just kind of showed you the end product, kind of. This isn't the first time I've shot the thing. Mainly because I bang my ring on my table and it makes like a really loud pop, and it just, rather than editing it post-production, I'm just gonna reshoot it because this doesn't take a very long time. Alright, so the first thing I want to do is, I'm already in the PCB thing. The first thing I want to do is load my bitmap. In this case, it's PNG and not a bitmap, so let's load Skull Americas. Now, for me, anything that's black I don't want as a front solder mask. Now, you can make this a silk screen or you can make this a solder mask. I'm going to say it's going to be a solder mask because I want the gold electrolytic nickel immersion gold to really pop out and show. And I'm going to say I want the negative image. So anything that's black, I don't want to appear. Anything that's white, I do want to appear as far as solder mask is concerned. So this is removing solder mask. It's a bit weird, I know, but it is what it is. So let's call it Skull Americas. And we're going to save this as a KiCAD mod file on the desktop. Alright, so we have that. Now we can go into the PCB and we can manage our footprints. So we want to browse libraries, and then we want to select the desktop. The desktop directory is where I have my Skull Americas KiCAD mod, so it just makes sense. I mean, you probably don't want to do this on your desktop, but I'm gonna make in a video, so you figure it out for your own purposes. So now that we have that, I can pretty much select by browser, and your library is going to be called whatever folder it's in. So desktop Skull Americas. So my KiCAD mod file is Skull Americas, and it's on the desktop. Alright, so I can place it just about anywhere, and we can take the ruler, I can barely see, okay, the ruler icon, and I can measure about how big this thing's going to be. So it's saying it's going to be about 33 millimeters, and let's go across. This thing is going to be about, I don't know, almost 40 millimeters, probably 38 millimeters across. So that's a good size. That's about what we originally wanted. So if you're actually designing a PCB and size is important to you, you can double check the size of your solder mask or your silk screen by using this tool. So one of the more important things, which so like you're pretty much done with your artwork right now if this is all you wanted to do. But if you wanted to have custom shapes and custom PCB stuff, you'll want to go to Edge Cuts and start making your own shape, let's just say. Alright, close that out. Alright. So let's take a look at the 3D viewer to look at what we have. Alright, so in this 3D viewer we can kind of see, the solder mask does not have mask where we want it. So everything worked fine, but it looks kind of dull, and that's because we don't have a copper plane behind it. So let's add a copper plane. So we've got to switch to the copper, actually no, I'm going to go front copper, and what we want to do is we want to place a filled zone in KiCAD. We don't care about a net, so whatever. So I'm going to do a really hacky kind of quick job, which honestly kind of goes with the aesthetic, so I'm not thinking this is a bad thing at all. Alright, so this gets kind of annoying really quick by not being able to see your solder mask, so I just kind of turned it off. But now when we open up the 3D viewer, you can see that it's very shiny, and we have solder mask right there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to have some kind of hole in here, and this is important if you want to make like a keychain or something like that. We can say that our diameter is going to be 5 and our drill is going to be 4. What this means is the drill is going to cut out 4 millimeters in diameter, and the annular ring is going to be 5 millimeters. And as you can see, now it doesn't really show up all that well. I'm going to hit the B button, and that'll refresh our copper pour. So as you can see, there's copper that's getting excluded right here. So now when we take a look at it, there should be a hole right there. Okay, so now we have that. Now when we actually make this as jewelry, we're also not going to want solder mask right here. And there's a way to get rid of that solder mask, and that's called not adding tents to your vias. So now we can kind of send it off to manufacture, and this is where the not having a tented via comes into play. So when we hit the plot button here, we have a do not tent vias section, so we want that. We don't care about solder paste. We want front and back copper even though we don't have back copper. We want front and back silk even though we don't have them. We want the front and back masks, even we do have them, well the front one anyway. And then we have the edge cuts, which is the shape of the PCB. So let's choose actually, you know what? This is all on the desktop. So how about we go to the desktop, create folder, output. Yes. Okay. So now that we have all of this selected the way we want it, we hit plot, we generate some drill files, and we send it off for manufacture. And to send it off for manufacture, let's go to output, take all of this, we compress it into a zip file. Let's call this Skull Americas. Alright, and one of the places that I use is called Osh Park. By no means are they the cheapest. There are other manufacturers out there, but they do specialize working with very small production runs, and the quality is amazing. So, I don't know. You figure it out where you want to go. I've been using these guys. They're fine for what it is I do. Again, they're a little bit more expensive, but you just click and drag, and then it starts processing. And what it'll do is it'll give you a picture of what it is it thinks that you're trying to order, and pretty accurately, because it'll show you very close to what it is you can expect. So this is what you'll get. So in our case, you can see that we didn't tent the vias, so that's what that looks like. Even KiCAD doesn't really show it like that, so that's great. Our solder mask definitely shows that this is the right color and everything. And if you look at, let's go to the bottom of my website here, my finished product looked like that, which is very, very, very similar to this. They quote you a price and how many boards you get. You'll actually get 3 of these for whatever price that they have, and you can order more based on multiples of 3. So assuming everything went right, this is what you'll see. If there was anything that didn't go right, you'll get an error. These warnings you can ignore, and then you just proceed and buy whatever it is that you're trying to make. And that's it. So hopefully I won't have to update my update the text of my thing, and maybe some people will find some use with this. All right.